Well, we got a plan. We got a plan. All we gotta do is go into the other world and steal an object that represents Kamoshida's distorted... Look, we're gonna go into the other world and beat up a bunch of shadows and maybe a boss, and then everything will work itself out in a cutscene after that. It's what the game has been building up to this entire time, and I think we're almost finally there, except Ryuji's gotten cold feet. Yep, yeah, he's afraid of accidentally killing the dude while he's lobotomizing him, but that's too bad, because it's inevitable. It is literally inevitable, because we've seen the future. The Najima cutscenes, the in-mid-res part. That's what makes this extra frustrating, because we all know what's going to happen. Oh hey, Anne's having some sort of extremely plot-relevant conversation right now. Maybe this would be a time to listen in. A little bit of blackmail information from Kamoshida, something like that. Yep. That's how they want to represent absolute despair. I can see why the developers of Persona wanted to use anime cutscenes pretty often, because otherwise we get stuff like that. Which, you know, what? Yeah, I was eavesdropping, I'm sorry. You know, really should have been talking to Anne this entire time. Because as much as the volleyball players themselves are the first-hand sufferers of Kamoshida's abuse, it's like Anne doesn't really seem to know much of his misdeeds and seems to have a pretty tenuous, terrible relationship based around blackmail with him. But it's like it's not really based around fear in the same way as with the volleyball players. She would probably be very willing to help out, you know, exposing him if given the chance. I don't know. I mean, I suppose before that happens, though, I have to go catch her, because why not? Yeah, the only reason I can think of the way it doesn't really happen is because Ryuji doesn't really want to talk to her too much, like some sort of past relationship or something like that he's kind of hesitant about getting into. Oh yes, and here's the part where you can see I don't know how to use escalators. Yep. Hey, when was the last time you think I was in like a subway or a airplane terminal? It's been a while. Anyway, none of this actually matters as far as the old gumshoe work goes, because it's all going to come down to beating up shadows and, you know, stealing hearts. Well, either way, it's always just a good way to learn about one of the more fleshed out characters we got here. I mean, you don't get a portrait in these games for nothing. And you know, if nothing else, I also can talk to a character who will actually be able to understand something for once. Which will be a very, very nice change for the last 5 or so hours. Oh god, we're gonna have to go talk to Ryuji again very soon.
Uwasa kurai shitteru yo ne. Kamoshida sensei to no koto. Watashi to dekiteru tte minna itteru. Kedo, anna yatsu to sonna wake. Kamoshida kara denwa kakatte kita no. Bangou o oshiero tte iwarete mo gomakashite kita no ni. Kore kara Kamoshida no buya ni koi tte sa. Tsumari, souyuu koto. 断ったら私の友達志保をレギュラーから外すって志保のためだって言い聞かせてきたけどこれ以上はもう無理あんなやつの言いなりとかもう無理だよけど大事な友達なのだって私には志保だけしかいないから私どうしたらいいごめん、わかんないよね。こんな話。
I really like that cutscene. You had stuff like Anne kind of drawing on the napkin, main character sort of awkwardly looking around, not sure what to do with his hands. It's the sort of thing where, you know, he wants to... He cares, but at the same time, it is still a really awkward conversation. I like that. Although it's not so much awkward. He's not talking because it's awkward. He's talking because he's a silent protagonist. And also, you did have that one part where she, grasped the invisible brooch that she was apparently wearing and started crying in a very anime way, which, okay, maybe that was a little much. But everything else about it, the point still stands. I like it. Also, yeah, I'm totally bad the bone dude. Real 50s greaser type over here. I would actually really enjoy if there was some sort of like perception meter or something like that that would allow me to actually convince people that I carry around a knife and that I'm wearing this leather jacket because I'm a rebel without a cause type of character. Also, something kind of interesting is that apparently, and despite being, a high school model and everything like that, people mostly ignore her. That kind of surprises me. You'd think that she would be getting unwanted attention all the time, and something like the main character sort of chasing her around to be like, hey, come on, I ain't looking for a date, get out of here, you. But it's like at the same time, I guess maybe she's also supposed to be a Buffy the Vampire Slayer type of character, where it's like, oh, well, the fact that you didn't really have any friends sure makes it easy to go around and, say, go into a metaverse and help me steal a distorted desires, whatever I'm supposed to be getting. They call it a treasure in the game sometimes. Let's just call it a treasure. Also, yes, if only there was some way where all of this could just be fixed magically. As if all we need to do was just go into an alternate... Okay, you get the entire point. I could just keep doing that all day, every day, but... Yeah, just change every single one of the responses to every question to, well, maybe if I went to the metaverse and stole that treasure. Oh, yeah. This is another one of those scenes where, for some reason, we're being shown it, even though a character is going to explain it in detail later on. Don't know why they're so populous in this game. I guess this is Sakura's entire role in the game at this point in time. Just telling me that I'm late. And that I'm continuing to screw up, and that I really shouldn't be screwing up. I'm on probation, etc. and so on. Why can't I just tell him the truth? Why? I don't want to give you those lies, but it's just as I need to do. Also, give me lies, give me sweet little lies. What if I just had an entire Persona episode that was just me like doing the entirety of Rumors, Fleetwood Mac's one of Fleetwood Mac's best albums? You think anybody would even notice? Oh wait, no, I know of at least one person who watched this series. Ah, damn it. One of these days, though, I'll just sneak it in, entire half hour. Oh, anyway, yes, probation. Don't screw up again, and keep your nose clean. I already got paid, so I don't actually care that much. I'm just warning you. I hope Sakura gets a social link. I mean, thus far, I've identified more with him and, like, the teacher Ushimaru having to deal with all these rowdy teenagers all the time, more than any other character in the game. Oh god, please no. But, of course, it's already too late. Yeah, that's right, we get another one of my favorite little tropes that appears in this game, the recap of an event that happened, what, about 10 minutes into the episode? So, like, roughly 15 minutes ago in-game time. Oh. I'm thinking that once I'm done with Kamoshida's Palace, I might just go back and make like a huge hypercut of this intro. You know, just completely get rid of everything. Maybe even put up like counters, like, hey, here's how many times Ryuji didn't get it. Here's how many times Kamoshida was established as being literally the worst person on planet Earth. Here's how many times that we flash back to something that just happened. But then again, at the same time, I know I can't do that because people are going to be like, hey, why'd you take out all the Igor scenes? It's like, he doesn't give you any new information. He gives you information about stuff that you're going to learn on your own within the next 15 minutes. He's like a reverse one of those scenes. He's like one of those guys that read ahead in the book when you're watching the television series, and he's really excited about telling you everything that's about to happen. So, I mean, as much as I'd like to do that, nah. You know, I was wondering about why Anne might not be all that popular in school. It was just because the entire student populace is just these horrible gossip demons spreading rumors all around at all points in time. It's like you apparently literally cannot get away from this. And I said before that this is a mainstay in the Persona series, but wow, are they really hammering hard on it this time. I don't really know if that's just kind of bringing back something old, or if that's going to be coming up in the story soon enough. I suppose we'll see over time. Hey, speaking of Ushimaru, there he is. And also, this is, you know, despite trying to learn the language, I'm not surprised a little about like Japanese politics or anything. So this is something that I certainly could not have figured out how to translate without the official one right in front of my eyes. I do like that these games sometimes give you just... Oh, also, what? Where were you even at this entire time? And also, don't worry about me. I'm totally down with this plan. Go convince Ryuji. And also, again, how did the main character sit down at the desk and not even notice that there was a cat there? It's usually the most obvious thing. Oh wait, I want to be silent for writing this. Oh, that is some quality voice acting. Some quality cat voice acting. Would that rumored cat be around here? These freaking rumor demons around here, I tell ya. Yo, Ryuji, we're in class right now. This is not the time to be talking on cell phones. Yo, Ryuji, again, education is important. It's what's going to get you a good job later in life. And plus, we're learning about things that are going to be very important too. Whatever. What? Boy, oh boy, that scene. And I do hope we see some more of Shio in the future, because I would really hate for her to have been introduced just for some cheap drama right now. We'll see. Only time will tell. I guess the entire reason that the game is going so very hard, you know, going so extreme, is because you may potentially be killing Kamoshida here. It's like, this might be a murder, and it's not even just trying to convince the characters that that's the only course of action, but to convince you, the player, as well. Even though, again, we know he doesn't die. It's still a really weird thing to have that introduced, that it's like, any point in time, you might be murdering somebody by doing this. I guess the only way you could possibly see that is either, one, like that in that opening scene, that's when the characters had become like heart of stone, like hardened assassins, and that, you know, being all like, hey, that Joker, he's always showing off, was just them like showing how far they descended into evil. Or that it's not actually that big of a deal. I guess Morgana's going to be appearing in every single scene, as you can see in the upper right corner. Happens in a couple other scenes too here as well. And I don't know what the deal with that is. Of course, we kind of already knew that. Yes, Ryuji. You know, it actually would have been a more interesting plot line if you found out from Najima that you did, in fact, kill Kamoshida. That the dude died. It's like, then you would have to be like looking at these scenes with the idea that it's like, but was it worth it? Was it really necessary? Of course, like I said, even in the earliest parts of this series, they really try to go out of the way to show that the villains are extremely villainous and that the heroes are extremely heroic, so doesn't really fit in with the narrative that's trying to be done. Despite the fact that they have absolutely no problem going extremely villainous and extremely dark in some ways, as you saw earlier. And it's definitely a thing in the series where it's the total whiplash I've also talked about before, but also like the super dark when it's really not even all that necessary. Hell, look at the Invokers all the way back in Persona 3. Personas always have that weird thing where it's sort of like cheesy type of drunk driving PSA you'd see in high school, sort of darkness to it, and I don't know, I always thought that was kind of a weird thing. Again, the Evokers in Persona 3 are just like the most prime example of that, and even I think they kind of realized that was ridiculous considering they never appeared in any other part of the series. Morgana down in the bottom left corner. You know, I know that it's like, yeah, they're trying to go very hard on Kamoshida being a villain, but like, good lord, I think this scene specifically is when he goes from like being extremely evil to being comically evil. Like, look at this. This is when the disbelief suspenders just snap right off and my pants fall down, essentially, with how this part is written. Like, come on, dude, really? Also, I guess that the protagonist's idea in the previous part of just confronting him directly was definitely not going to work. Especially because he seems to still have a chip on his shoulder about the last time Ryuji confronted him over something. Wasn't any sort of otherworld shenanigans with that. That did actually happen. Alright, Ryuji. Now, I know Ryuji, of course, doesn't remember because he's Ryuji. But really, the protagonist should just, you know, say, well, Kamoshida, I guess there's nothing we can do to release your iron grip on this school. Why it would take some sort of supernatural intervention to be able to take you down. Wink, 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 wink. Let's just take our leave, Ryuji. Alright, so there we go. There's the ticking clock. Much like in the previous game where you only had until the next big rainfall and fog to finish a dungeon. I guess there's going to be some sort of time limit imparted on each one of these in the same way. Probably something different rather than just that you'll be expelled each time. That would be weird. Now this isn't... Well, it's not even an interesting twist. It's just a weird twist. I guess it's just another reason... I mean, first off, it doesn't actually matter. Because as we've seen from the rest of the school, they are all horrible people, and they would have figured this out anyway. Wow, that laugh. I guess Mishima is also some kind of super hacker. It's just another weird way to try to make it so that the protagonist has a personal connection to this, even though it's still really from the very start should have just been like Anne and Ryuji instead of Anne, Ryuji, and also that other guy. This is absurd. This is just absolutely absurd. Like, you think you can stop me? Why, I give you explicit permission for you to go ahead and try anything, even if it does result in my death. Like, man. Boy, howdy, look at that line. Look at that line. Can't waste any time. Also, beat the shit out of that asshole. That's a good turn of phrase. Can't waste any time. Can't waste any time. Look, I've been for starting the game from the very beginning. Let's just go already. I mean, all we gotta do is just steal something, right? You know, Morgana, for kind of being a semi-mentor to these characters. Oh, God. It's a real question of exactly how long... The real question of how long exactly each one of these scenes takes, because it seemed like everything happened like within the span of 10 minutes previously. Like, how is Anne back already? I guess I should just be happy she didn't notice us talking to the cat. That would be somewhat hard to explain. She also didn't even seem to notice that the cat was here, which would, you know, even just alone would be kind of hard to explain. Oh well. Still kind of curious as to what Ryuji's relationship is with Anne. They've been hinting at something, but we haven't really gotten any answers about that just yet. Also, Morgana doing the, hey, women from Venus and men from Mars, am I right? If it turns out that Morgana is like a 70-year-old man, I feel like that would explain a lot. He does use Wagahai to describe himself, which is not usually usually an absurdly formal way to refer to yourself. Oh yes, and also that there are other times where he's talking like, oh yeah, we get to be superheroes and wear costumes and steal stuff. How awesome, right? It's like we're in a comic book. And just like, what? I don't understand this character. And I guess we're not going to be finding out anytime soon because, well, mascot character, so... Well, then again, also, we saw in the very first scene in the game that Morgana was definitely still a cat, so... I think it's safe to say that this was not successful. Or that he just gains the ability to transform back and forth between cat and human form. Also unlikely. Well, I guess we'll see. Alright. This very yes, let's go in this very, very public area.
かするつもりだ。スマホが関係あんの？名前と学校と。
So, remember how Ryuji was saying in the last part, we're going to show the police the school? I mean, if you're just going to be taking... She's going to be taking Anne with you, doing this in a public place, it's like... Yeah, you should have just done that in the first place. Like, still say you should just be taking everybody that you possibly can into this. It's a sort of thing where if there's a sort of secret that you don't think people would believe, why not just show everybody? Make it extremely public. It is very clearly not the school. Also, look at the crazy filter we got going on the screen and the vignetting and everything. You think? This is pure speculation, and everything you're saying is absolute nonsense, Mark. Again, very much in character, but still. And of course, Ryuji immediately believes him. Yeah, you know, he's always like a king of a castle, blah, blah, blah. There you go. That's how it do. What? Yeah, what is this? The first time you're noticing? That cat's been in every single scene, and also there's not a whole lot of other things to look at as of right. And you got to be more observant. Well, anyway, I do agree with Ryuji on this one, because if you don't have a persona and you're coming into this other world, unless you're just kind of proving that it exists to somebody, which you should be doing, you're kind of a sitting duck. And the way that somebody gets a persona is by being in a life-threatening situation and then ripping their face off as if they're Nicolas Cage. So maybe just try to avoid forcing people into that situation. Maybe wait until you have like a little bit nicer way of awakening a persona in a person before you start assembling a crew for... I mean, not that it really matters anyway, because she's going to get the app on her phone. That thing is like a virus and come in here anyway. Because that's how it do. Yeah. I mean, you could see like hundreds of people walking around outside, but now's the time they do. Oh, whatever. Also, you don't. You were just speculating on stuff. I seriously doubt that. I seriously doubt that you're going to be doing anything fast. Anne in English, An in Japanese. I think it's supposed to be Anne, though, because it's you know, English. She's supposed to have an English name or something. I'm still not entirely sure how that works. Regardless, she's Lady Anne because Morgana is 7 years old. Yeah, Joker. Because, you know, I guess Morgana's been reading the script. Been looking ahead a little bit. Come on, if we're gonna be superheroes, we gotta have a superhero name. I mean, to be fair, this is kind of a cute scene where they get to, like, choose code names and are, you know, kind of palling around like that. Also, if he's your trump card, it's like, why not just refer to him as Trump? So anyway, he's Joker. There you go. Also, it's a dumb nonsense name. Anyway. Oh, yes, this is an interesting little difference between the English and Japanese version. Here, he's asking, hey, how do you say Dokuro, skull, in English? And Morgana's like, I think it's pronounced skull? When you could have said anything. Like, oh, I think it's pronounced fuckface. But nah, it's kind of interesting. I was wondering because this, up until this point, has been pretty accurate to the Japanese dialogue. I was wondering if they were, when I was looking at the Japanese version, if they were going to, like, go and be, you know, try to work around that, be like, hey, what is that in English? But no, that was properly localized in a way that you would expect it to be. Yeah, it also is a good way to get around naming the main character what you actually put in there. You know, your Dovahkiin sort of principle. All right, finally getting into the palace. We'll see how long that lasts.